Hello there, ladies and gents. Okay, here we are again. So this is the Volvo Penta 225, and I showed you on the last video about the 6 bolts in the actual back of the motor on the outside, out there, holding that in. So today we're releasing everything to be able to pull this motor up. So first thing first, I took the hose clamps. There's 4 of them here on this exhaust boot. There's 4 more on this exhaust boot. They're kind of slidden down there, you can see them. Then we had a linkage going to the carburetor, and I made sure it's just sitting back here behind. Put all the bolts and everything on so you don't lose the bolts. And the wiring harness was pretty easy. It just actually unplugs. So it's actually sitting back here waiting for when I put the motor back in. So release that. There was a ground right here that was attached to the back, and I just undid this bolt, took that ground off. The ground going to the battery and the rest of the motor was on a bolt over here. I actually ended up using it for when I took the hose. There's the fuel line, and I just stuck the bolt in the end of the fuel line so we're not getting fuel everywhere. We had a few drips there, that's why I got the rag down there. And let's see, what else did I disconnect? I took the bolts out. There were 4 bolts, 2 on this front motor mount, and then there's 2 more there that came from that side of the motor mount. And I'm going to take all the oil because there's a little bit of water. So the deal with this boat was that the previous owner bought the boat from, I think it was his dad. Didn't know how to winterize it, so he ended up cracking the side of the block. So the engine starts up, it runs, but it won't hold water. And there's water actually inside the oil. So the engine's no good, but we can take these parts. I bought another boat that actually had twin 350s. One was reverse, so you got to pay attention to that, which way the distributor is actually turning when you're hitting the starter. It had a reverse 350 and a standard 350. This is a standard 305. So I'm going to take that 350, and it's actually a Crusader, and I'm going to strip it down to basically the valve covers, the heads, take the exhaust off and everything, and then take all of these parts, which there's only 800 hours on this boat. So far, all the bolts came out like it was a brand new motor so far. But take everything down on this. The other boat that I bought that had the twin 350, same thing. They repowered it a couple years ago, so all the bolts have been really easy. Unfortunately, it was a wooden boat. The bottom had gotten soft. The owner didn't know what to do with it. It was a 35 footer. I have a trailer for a 35 footer. So I went down, made a deal with him, took over the boat, and took the engines out, stripped it all down, and the rest will go to the salvage. And so that's the easiest way to deal with these used boats. These old boats, unlike the new ones, they're heavy, thick hold. As you can see, the Sunrunner, the first year of the Sunrunner, they even gel coated the whole inside of the engine room. Something that you don't see today. Now all you see is that matting, and they spray paint it, and then they try to put a speckle paint on it to make it look all pretty. But they're not, these new boats are nothing like these older boats. These are pretty solid. They use thicker fiberglass. So it's worth it to me and the people I deal with out here on the Columbia River, out in the Pacific Ocean. They want a heavier duty boat. So it makes it fun for me to, as a hobby, to rebuild these boats and put these motors in. Sorry, didn't mean to ramble on there. Anyway, so fuel line's off. Bolts are released from the rear of the motor. Motor mounts have 2 bolts on each side, 4 total. And then these. And as I start to pull, I got my crane up above here. I made a crane actually out of boards from Home Depot. Cost me like $150 instead of going and spending $700 for that one at Harbor Freight. That won't even fit on the sides of a 7-foot boat. So don't even bother. You'd have to go and buy another I-beam. You'll be into $800-900. It's cheaper just to build your self one out of boards from Home Depot. I put wheels on mine. You can do electric crane and get one of those electric hoist cranes from Harbor Freight that do 4,000 or 5,000 pounds. These motors, they only weigh, depending if they got liquid in them or not, anywhere between 600-700 pounds. If that even, but that's probably the most I've ever seen that was on a 454. But yeah, that's the way to do it. I'll keep posting videos. I'm gonna get this motor out. I'll show you the motor that I'm gonna swap parts on later. And hopefully this is helping all of you guys just like me, a backyard boater. All right, have a good night. Actually day, morning, whatever you watch this.